Brilliant. Well, thank you everyone who's joined live, and for those who signed up and have requested a video copy. So we're going to be looking at how to jazz up really our email signatures. I'm sure a lot of you have noticed in recent months, in the last couple of years, that email signatures have become probably more apparent, and we've probably all had that email and we've looked at it and thought, well, how on earth have they done that? I think it's something that I'd like to do, but wouldn't necessarily know how. So hopefully in about 15 minutes time, you can go away and jazz up yours. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Like I said, with regards to the interaction, you know, I'm more than happy just to deliver this for 10-15 minutes. But if you want to pop any questions in the chat, then great. If not, hopefully in that 15 minutes time, you'll be able to give this a go yourself. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so going back to email signatures, here's an example of an email signature that I use. And the first thing that I want to point out, and is really important with regards to the modern kind of email signatures that we see, is that they're based around using a table. So we associate a table to being a series of rows and columns that would have what we call borders, so we'd be able to look at it clearly and say, well, that's a table, and it be apparent based on the borders. But the key to some of these signatures is that they don't include the borders, and the table is purely used from a layout perspective. Okay, so looking at my signature here, I've got 1, 2, 3 columns and 1 row. The only border I've added in here is the line in between column 1 and column 2, and then I put the image in the first column, bit of information in the middle column, and then my logo then in the third column. Okay, so the web or the email platform that I'm using here is Microsoft Outlook. There's others, whether you're using Mac or a smart device, or if you're in the browser with things like Gmail and Office and so on. But the principle applies across the board. Okay, so you can create it. So like I said, I'm using Outlook here. I can create it in Outlook, but the easiest way, if we're going to use tables, would be to actually use something like Microsoft Word. Okay, so here's an example, and I'll email this to everyone with some actual templates. And the idea behind the template is that you take it and you kind of customize it to yourself without having to worry too much about the layout. And for this example, this gentleman here, obviously I'd want that to become a picture of me, so I can click on it, right click, and I've got change picture. So if I go to change picture, there's a picture of me and I click insert. Okay, so it's replaced that picture. The previous image was of it was in the shape of a circle. So within any Microsoft application, once you highlight an image, you've got the format and the properties across the top, and the picture format and crop in the top right. I can crop to a shape. So there's quite a range of shapes here that I could choose. Okay, so obviously that one was a circle. So I'm going to just choose a circle, and it's created the circle out of that shape. I then obviously replace all the contact details. The icons for social media, you notice that they vary as far as design. You can obviously move these between, but the important thing is that you can right click on any image, which is what they are, and then under hyperlink, so this would say LinkedIn, you know, you'd pop your actual LinkedIn address there. You would do the same then for Twitter. There's a Facebook icon here, Twitter there. There's probably an Instagram on there as well. And then all of a sudden, you know, you've got that signature, you've got that table, and it's a case of clicking on the table, and you can right click, copy, and then you'd come back to your email application or your browser, and you'd paste the signature in. Okay, so I've rifled through that really quickly because yes, this is fantastic. Okay, but I want to show you an even bigger cheat really, and that is a website that is called Signature Hound. So I'll pop all this in the email and in the chat later. And I discovered this a few months back, and I'll be honest with you, it blew my mind based on one, it was free and 100% free, and two, just how simple it was. So I'm going to quickly go through setting up a Signature Hound signature and show you, why I think you should give it a go, and ultimately how it could potentially improve your signature. So you've got to sign up. Okay, so I have signed up, so I'm going to quickly sign in, and you can have as many signatures as you want within this. So if you've got different hats, different organizations, then you can create multiple. So we're going to start with create a new signature. It needs a name, and the name is purely for your profile. Okay, so then which signature is which. Okay, so they've given you an example of what a signature could look like. Okay, and then a load of templates down on the left hand side. We need to forget about the templates for now. We need to actually populate it with some information. Okay, so personal info, this is where you would add your information to the platform. Okay, so image, so I'm going to select an image, and you've got two, there's personal info and there's business. Okay, so the personal is going to be me, so that's going to be a picture of me. And that initially puts it in a circle, and sets a width of 100 pixels. If you want to change that, then you can do. Okay, so now we're going to need to put a name in. Okay, so I'm Jonathan Evans. Didn't really introduce myself at the start, did I? I am a digital consultant. Okay, department, well, if you haven't got one, then you can just ignore that. Okay, my email is going to go in here. Okay, and what you'll find is you don't have to include all the information that they're asking for. Okay, so my main number would be, and I put +44 because it tends to help those on a mobile device, because the mobile will pick up or detect that it's a mobile, and it would let them ring directly without having to type it in. I'm going to just use that as my main. Under select now, there are other elements that you can add. Okay, should you want to, and then that is the personal information that they need initially for that section. Under business info, very similar. Okay, so I'm going to put in my company logo. Again, you can change the width if you want, but we'll have a look at that later. Company name. Okay, so that's going to be really important to whatever you're doing. Address. Okay, so again, it all depends on whether you want to include your address. Okay, some organizations wouldn't. So I'm based in Pembrokeshire, so I'm just going to put that. Okay, if you've got an office or a shop or something, you can get the actual address URL from somewhere like Google Maps and include it there. Okay, so that's definitely worth considering. My email, my website. Okay, so I'm just going to rifle through these as quickly as possible. The social media is where you would copy and paste your social media actual link. Okay, so for example, this would be my Facebook page. I'd go to my Facebook page, I'd copy the link at the top, and then on the actual Facebook section, I would just paste it in. So you can do that for whichever ones that you're using. You can move them up and down and so on. I won't do that for them now, because obviously that would probably waste your time. If they've got these personal icons. I haven't actually used them or needed to use them. Okay, but it would allow you to tell the user if it's a personal account or not. Again, I'm not 100% sure why you'd need to do that based on this being a business email signature. And then design. Okay, so the design is where you can customize how it looks. Okay, before we do that, and now I'm going to go back to the templates because my content is on there. I can decide on a layout. Okay, so the one column looks great unless you've got a picture of you and your logo. You might not want a picture of you, so therefore the one column idea would work. You also need to spell your name right, just notice that. So if I scroll down, I'm going to choose one of the vertical ones, and this one now is showing a couple of options. Okay, so I quite like the look of this one here. Have a play with it. Okay, ultimately it's your signature, and you can always come back and change it. Okay, so now under design, this is where you can really customize how things look. Okay, some things are applicable, some aren't. For example, if you're wanting to swap your logo and your image around, I want it at the top because it's alongside my my name. Icons can be on there or not. So if you notice, there's icons for the actual content, the actual data. You can decide the icon size. Okay, the different types of icons. The default one I found is probably the cleanest, but again, have a play with it. You've then got these choice of colors here. Okay, some of them apply, some of them don't. Okay, so the theme color is where you decide on the color that is the dominant color. You can, for example, I've got some blue there. Okay, so I can bounce around trying to find the blue, but it would never necessarily be that exact blue. Okay, so I just want to introduce you to a quick website. It's called htmlcolorcodes.info, and you can actually upload your logo, and it will give you the exact, if I scroll down, color codes. Okay, which you might not think is that important, but there will be a time where you are wanting to exactly color match a logo, and you probably only need to do this once, and you'd write them down, and then you're good to go. Okay, so here is where I could type that in. Okay, so I know that my red is 980012. Okay, they're hexadecimal color codes. Okay, you know, that's all we need to really know about that. It's what tells the computer how much red, green, and yellow to use. Okay, so red, blue, and yellow. And then you'll soon work out, right, the theme color was just for that line. Icons, okay, what color icons? So I know my yellow in my logo is CFA 900. Okay, so now my icons have got that color. You'll see that the social icons are different to the general icons. Okay, so my social media icon color could be the blue, which is 008 DCE. Okay, so now I'm really starting to personalize it. If I click on that again, they shrink down. The only other thing I might want to change here is the actual link color. Okay, based on it not necessarily match with that yellow. So if I want that to be yellow as well, okay, it's picked them up from the bottom. I can click on it, and there we have it. Okay, you'll find that it says created with Signature Hound on it. Remarkably, they let us remove that. Okay, there's also there is a section on a disclaimer. So you'll notice a lot of companies will include a disclaimer with regards to the contents of the email. You can clear that if you don't want it. So straight away now this is shrinking down. The call to action, okay, if I just drop that in, it's where if you wanted to specifically give them an advert or a promotion with a link to another website, you could drop it in at the bottom. Okay, whereas we're not gonna do that. Okay, so going back to the there's other things here. You might have a font that you tend to use a lot of. Okay, so if I wanted to change that font, then I can do there. And then the line height. So if I just move that around, it'll just shrink the actual height of the actual signature itself. Okay, so there's my signature. I now want to transfer this, and this is where this really comes into its own. If I click on install signature, I'm sure most of us will use at least one of these apps. Okay, and it's trying to help us if we want to put it on our mobile device, if we want to put it on our tablet, if we want to put it on our Macs and so on. It gives us a bit of a guide on how to do that. So I'm using Outlook for Windows. I click on that and it talks me through how I would need to add that to my signature. Okay, with a copy signature, I touch it or tap it and it's on my clipboard. I can now come back to Microsoft Outlook in this example, and it did talk me through how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to click on signatures. Okay, and here, looking like they've explained in the guide, it's going to load my signatures. I'm going to create a new signature for this demo. Click on OK. Okay, load it up when it eventually loads. Click off. Okay, so it's blank, and then I just paste it in, Control V, and it'll put in what I've just pulled across from Signature Hound. You've got a choice then whether you want it to be part of a new message or a reply. If you've got multiple accounts like you have there, you can choose that. So I'll link it to my Gmail account. Click on OK. I didn't press save. I'm hoping now that it saves it. And then when I click on a new email, it's there. Okay, so personally, I think it's really easy to do. I think it does lift the quality of or the appearance of an email. So give it a go, really. If you've got any problems, then let me know. I'm going to send out a recording and any links to any files that I have used, and then hopefully that'll give you the kind of the starting point to actually using a better or improving your signature. I'm going to just pop some contact details in the chat for those of you who want to connect on social media with me. That's always a bonus for me. So if you can do that, and I'll also pop in a link to Signature Hound and also the color matching website as well. So if I just grab that, and that's where you could upload your logo and it will give you the exact colors. Other than that, guys, a little bit longer than I thought, but 15 minutes was the goal, so just over. Hopefully you benefit from that. And then if there's any queries, just give me a shout. It'll take me probably about an hour for Zoom to kind of get that video to me, and I'll email it later today. Other than that, thank you ever so much, and I really appreciate you joining. Take care. Bye.